Well, good morning. How's everybody doing? Look at those fire escapes here. This is Chicago, Illinois. We're on Fullerton. Hey, we got the patricians. Taxi turning around. Look at this Art Deco 1929 vintage apartments. They were always apartments. This was like a co-op building. Here's the French Renaissance Revival mansard roof. I think it's a co-op building. Very nice fixtures on the inside. They got some nice residential buildings. This is the Mies van der Rohe building. If you ever seen What Women Want, came out in 2000 with Helen Hunt and Mel Gibson. There's a scene where he comes out the door there and he runs down that path, and the day where you can hear what all the women are thinking, and the women joggers, he could hear all their thoughts, and he freaks out, and he would talk to the door woman that worked here, 2400 Lakeshore Drive, in that movie. There's a scene where Marissa Tomei and Mel Gibson are talking there, and you can see my apartment. You can see buildings near where I live right there. So it's funny. Hey, XRT fan, how you doing there? Kiki Frost, Doreen, yeah. That would freak me out, yeah. I remember when I was living here when they filmed that. They filmed it in 2000. I remember they had the big spotlight. I just moved to the city like a year before that. And I was like, wow, they're filming a movie. And I didn't realize Marissa Tomei was right down the street there. I would have went and tried to be an extra. Here's, hey, 2430. Yeah, these are really nice buildings here. This is on Lakeview. And see, there's the Mies van der Rohe building, 2400. Lakeview, you see, is international modern style. It looks just like an office building, but it's residential. That was the funny thing about the residential style. You couldn't tell any difference between the use of the building. There was Mies van der Rohe buildings downtown, there are right now, that look just like this, but they're office buildings, and then these residential buildings look exactly the same. No balconies, nothing. Less is more. Less is more. Here, 2430. Yeah, look at that crest. Yeah, these buildings have like fireplaces, and I have not been on the inside, but I think some of these have roof decks. And I've looked into, when I was considering purchasing at some place, like after the Great Recession and the financial crisis, you could have got like a co-op in here for $200,000, but your assessment fees, your monthly assessment fees, are more than my rent. It's like $1,500, $2,000 a month assessment fees, because you share all the cables and your utilities are like shared. It's like a co-op building. Same as this. Look how they add it. They add like balconies and windows, and they got like off-street parking and stuff. It's kind of interesting. These go back to the 1920s and 1910s. But hey, if you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're on Lakeview. We got about 15 degrees, negative 10 Celsius for about the same temperature. Maybe we're a little colder. Maybe we're 14, 13, something like that. But hey, look at the scale, the density. And all this came to a screeching halt when the Great Depression happened. And then nothing was built for 30 years. Yeah, good morning. How you doing, Izzy? Samuel? Yeah. So, let's see what else. One Golden Nubian. Good morning. Yeah, see, I'm a little late getting started this morning. See, look at the nice lobbies they got here. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, CJ's moms, James, Izzy. Okay, so you know where we're at. We pass this often. This is the Wrigley Mansion. The Durer was a beer baron. He married into the shop Schoenhofen Edelweiss beer fortune. He married the daughter of Schoenhofen. He was also in the beer making business before Prohibition. They built this amazing mansion, late 1890s. The architect, it's right here, Richard Schmidt. Richard Schmidt, it shows 1896. Richard Schmidt was designing neo-traditional Renaissance Revival buildings after the Great Columbian Exposition, just like the Dewey's house. And then later, a decade later, he was switched to the Prairie style. He switched to like Frank Lloyd Wright. And here, the Durer Wrigley house here, 1896. Look at that, nice and closed. You can go online to YouTube. They got, when this went on the market, you can see how much it changed hands for. And they got YouTube videos from like 10, 15 years ago of what it looks like on the inside. It's just amazing. The size of the bathtub, things like that are just huge. And it's like a bathtub big enough for William Howard Taft. Here's the Dewey's house has a big one too. Hey, they got the nice sculptural garden, this modernist building, deconstructivist building next to it. Then you got the Richardsonian Romanesque and the Greystones here. But hey, we're on Lakeview here, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America, planet Earth. We got 6:57 in the AM Friday. Happy Friday. Hey, nice walking the dog there. And then you got these, see these condo buildings were built in the 70s. So eventually these, and then this one was built in 2012, the Lucy Lagrange. Here, let's across here. So this is Lincoln Park. You can catch the bus here. Some of them go express to North Pond. This is near where I live, so I'm always up here. I'm just taking the easy way. People say, go here, go there. I know, I'm just walking around. But hey, we're supposed to get some snow later this morning. Probably the snow will start right once when I start working there. So hopefully at lunchtime, we'll play in the snow. Noon to 1, I'll do my usual YouTube walk. Maybe we'll just head to the zoo, see what the fresh snow looks like in the park. See, we need some fresh snow. This other snow, the sun was burning it off. Even though it was cold, the sun will still melt the snow over time, given enough time. Here's yeah, Lucy Lagrange. This used to be the Columbus Hospital. Here's the shrine to St. Francis Xavier Cabrini. If that name sounds familiar, Cabrini Green. Cabrini Green was named after St. Francis Xavier Cabrini. She was the first patron saint from the United States, or at least from Chicago, to be canonized at the Vatican. Of course, Italian American, and they later named the there's still Francis Xavier Cabrini homes where people still live in near the old Montgomery wards. The rest of the Cabrini Green is torn down. The later towers, or the high-rise housing. That's another Mies van der Rohe building. Chicago, Illinois, Lincoln Park. Almost 7 o'clock, 6:59 on the dot. Hey, look at this nice, yeah, Lucy Lagrange really embraced the neo-traditional, postmodern expression. It's all about property values. Just like all the McMansions and stuff. It's like a McMansion condo. But it's nice. I'm envious, you know. I would love to live in this building if I could afford it, but it's pretty expensive. It's pretty exclusive. Hey, Wes. Bill, how you doing? Tennessee. Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. Yeah, we got other people that subscribe from Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama. I know it's been cold down there. It's even getting cold in Florida. Even Miami, Florida might get down to 39 degrees overnight. That's really cold for Miami, Florida. I know my Florida friends, a lot of people tune in from Florida. They've been taunting us with the nice weather. They had 80 degrees just a week ago. But it's been kind of unseasonably cool. Even in Florida, the iguanas have been dropping out of the trees further north. Here's Lincoln Park. So here's where we're at. See, north is this way. There's the lake. We're here. So downtown is all this way. This is all Lincoln Park. So the zoo's here. We're here by the North Pond Diversey Harbor. We'll probably walk up in here and we'll go down to Halstead or something and come back this way. But yeah, so the lake is that way. If you go through that tunnel, you get to the North Pond. There's nice views and stuff. We go through there all the time. Hey, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, I'm just a guy, one of the several people that walk around Chicago. There's streetwalkers in New York, other cities. Duran does. There's one Will in Los Angeles. Stays up all night, listens to the police scanners. We got a guy, Alexander, Chicago. He does the same thing. He has the police scanner, and I guess just because it's wintertime, he's been driving around. He walks around a lot too. You can check out Ernesto Chicago Nuggies. Jennifer, you should eat. We got all these great Chicago live streamers all throughout the city here. If I start, I just have to list like 50 names here. It's amazing how the community has grown. And I consider it a true genre. People are always like, show your face, show your face. I'm not in this to get famous, get rich. I walk around a lot anyway, just like Steve Lyon. Steve Lyon is a prolific walker in Chicago. He'll go on these hour-long, you know, like 6-hour-long walks. He'll stop and get something to eat along the way and use the restroom. And let the restaurant watch his phone while he uses the restroom. And it's great. See large areas of the city. You can watch Jody G TV. You can watch Lux. It's just in the NIA. There's a lot of J-City Walking Girl. There's a lot of people that walk around the city, which is great. So, but it's hard to do in the wintertime. We've had this really long stretch of cold weather, but it's actually, I've seen worse. The lake's not even frozen over. And there's the two Mies van der Rohe buildings up here, 2800 North. That is where Sheridan begins. And those were built in the late 1950s, early 1960s. And here's, look at that, that's the 2800 Lakeshore. These condo buildings, that one's got a pool at the top. I remember one time I saw one of the units caught on fire, and it was contained to one floor, and there was a burnout floor there. Very weird looking, and the fire suppression sprinkler systems worked. I guess some of the units around it were damaged, but the whole building, they can't even tell what happened. And Jennifer, You Should Eat saw a fire down in Old Town around Christmas time, and same thing, it was contained, and firefighters were able to get it under control. It's very scary, high rise. You don't want the Towering Inferno. Remember that movie? They built the tallest building there in San Francisco, and it caught on fire. Everybody was at partying on the top, and they couldn't get down. They tried to fly them off the helicopter, and it didn't work. And everybody went to the roof as the building was on fire. That's not what you want to do. But it was a stupid 70s movie, The Towering Inferno. Remember that? I think O.J. Simpson was in it. Remember? Oh my God, that was a big blockbuster at that time. But here we're in Chicago. We're on Lakeview. We'll go past the Elks Memorial. We got 703. How you doing? Lambie T's tuning in. That's good. Emily, nice city. Yeah, thanks for tuning in there. Scott's tuning in. Yeah, Kelly, good morning. Sorry if I missed anybody. Chris, yeah, hello. So here's the Elks Memorial. It's closed in the wintertime. Usually in the summertime we go inside a few times a year and show you that oak room, and we got reruns. The Elks Memorial is such a beautiful place. And it's still, you know, the Elks, you can still join the Elks. You just got to believe in God. Just like the Masons. You can lie. You can be a Satanist and you can lie to them, say you believe in God, and they won't even know the difference. Here's, you just pay the dues. You just got to pay the dues. This would be the new American motto. You just got to pay the dues. It costs money. You got to pay President $10 million. President's suing the own government for $10 million. Or $10 billion. He's over the release of his tax records. He's suing the IRS for $10 billion. Oh my God. Hey, the Elks, look at the nice statue there. Hey, let's see what this says. Chicago landmark, Elks National Headquarters Building. Edgerton Schwartz. Wow, we saw that. He's got his picture there. Yeah, over 1,000 Elks died, and 70,000 served in World War I. It's a veterans memorial, and then they expanded it for World War II. Elks. Here's 17 degrees. There's 705, 17 degrees. This is a medical building. This is an interesting kind of art moderne building. Look at that. Look, I never really thought of it as, it is architecturally interesting because it's kind of a Bauhaus art moderne building here. Yeah, instead of going up Sheridan's nice. This is where Sheridan begins. There's these Mies van der Rohe building, the Goethe statues right there. We'll walk into the neighborhood here. So Lincoln Park's on our left. Lakeview neighborhood's all north of here. And we were up there last night. We went up to Belmont and walked down Broadway. I'll post that footage. We went into the K-pop collectibles place. Thanks again to the nice woman that was showing us around there, and I'll edit that into a video. I'll do some clips on YouTube, and then we'll do a nice video montage on TikTok. I'll work on that later today or this weekend. Man, get a muffler. Here's Duffy's. Duffy's is a nice brunch place. It's a bar. They have a good brunch. You get your mimosas there. So this is Diversey here, north side of Chicago, 706 Elks Magazine building here. Clark Street. Well, Clark Street's this way. Willie Lils. What do you think about Nicki Minaj going all for Trump? I just, you know, good luck with that. I hope she doesn't lose her fan base over politics. She might. Here's Paris Cove's Persian dining. I just can't wait to them play. They're going to be playing Nicki Minaj music at MAGA Trump rallies. Isn't this amazing? Here's Lincoln Park. The world is just getting surreal. Here's so Lincoln Park's to the left. There's the building where Charlie Chaplin briefly lived for 3 months. He slept on a guy's couch when they were working in S&A Studios. We've gone up there in Uptown S&A Studios. There used to be a small movie production industry in Chicago, mainly around S&A Studios. That's why Hollywood Boulevard's up there. You get off the north end of Lakeshore Drive. But this is called the Brewster. They used it in Child's Play, the movie Child's Play, and they used it in Running Scared with Gregory Hines and Billy Crystal. There, it came out in the 80s. But here we got the this restaurant's breakfast house. See, a lot of restaurants are having a hard time. There's Durno's. It used to be called Yoxie's, but look how that building. See, it got stuck. There were probably a bunch of buildings like that, and they built these buildings on either side. And just like the Up House, it got stuck there. It got stuck in the middle, and it's all by itself. Hey, we'll start calling that the Up House. From that Disney movie where the old guy floats the balloons and it floats away. It's an animation, yeah. With the dog. The dog's the best in that. The dogs can talk. Hey, go grocery. Go grocery. I've never bought anything from a Go Grocery. What is this, Amazon? I don't even know what the Go Grocery is. But here, Everbrook Academy. Yeah, we saw that place you could adopt the cats. I might cut that out too. We saw the place where you could adopt the cats. That's on Belmont there. Nah, please, her husband. It was a quid pro quo. It was a quid pro quo. This for that. She got something out of it, and it was personally, and she was willing. You know, that shows you how transactional this presidency is. It's not even by party lines. Like, look, he pardoned Blagojevich, but it was because he sung his praises. He kowtowed. He's not going to say anything critical of Trump now, and so he bought him off. And same with Nicki Minaj. She's not going to be critical, even if personally she might be. And so you see how money ruins the world? Money compromises. You know, if you get rid of money as a motive for doing things, you might actually stick more on your principles. But money makes you compromise and say, oh, maybe people won't hate me the rest of my life if I'm rich. Here's, hey, look at the tables. It's just like this is a really nice commercial strip here. Original commercial buildings here. The Elks here's a residential building, a modernist take on it. And here we'll head over to we were here yesterday, we'll head over the 5-way intersection of Clark, Diversey, and Broadway. Now I get some breakfast. So the temperature, we're about 15 degrees Fahrenheit, -10 Celsius. It's been like the same temperature all week. Usually every morning it gets close to 0, and we haven't gotten above 20 degrees since the weekend. And we're supposed to get snow later today. We got 7:11 in the AM here, Chicago, Illinois, United States of America. Hey, there's a little bit of snow. Here, the snow's just starting. See in front of the headlights here? The snow's just starting to come down here. I couldn't see it until we'll have to look at a street lamp here. There's the Diversey Hotel. It used to be the Days Inn. Lincoln Park's to the left. This is Clark Street, Broadway. We'll keep. You go up that way. You get to Wrigley Field, Wrigleyville. That goes up to Lakeview East. This is Lincoln Park, north side Chicago, and. Hey, the 22 bus heads down Clark Street. Yeah, growing up with your aunt there, Doug, how you doing there? Yeah, money's not evil. The love of money's evil. There you go. That's I saw that quote there, Wes. That's good. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, we all need money. We all need money. You said it better than I did, so thanks, Wes. That's you see what I'm saying. You smell what I'm cooking. Yeah. And there's some things that are more valuable than money, like integrity. Should be. You can't eat off of integrity. That's the problem. You know, you can eat off of money. You could sell your soul to the devil. Here's Barnes & Noble. So this used to be Urban Outfitters. Barnes & Noble, we got reruns of it. We walked in there. Of course, I don't mean to promote the chain ones over the mom and pops. We promote the mom and pops like Myopic Books. But Myopic Books won't let me do a live stream in there, so Barnes & Noble will. And it's because Myopic Books has more integrity than Barnes & Noble's, because Barnes & Noble's is subject to their shareholders. Here, Trader Joe's. Massage envy. You're envious of that massage? Yeah, 2nd Street. Nando's. There's a Nando's there. I didn't know it. Right next to Half Shell. I'd recommend Half Shell. Here's a Trader Joe's. So there's a Trader Joe's grocery store right here on Diversey. See, here's where we're at. We're Diversey, Clark Street North that way. Lincoln Park Trader Joe's. It's right on the border of Lakeview, Orchard Street. But there, Half Shell. Half Shell, it's surf and turf. You get your lobster tail, you get your crab with your steak. That's what surf and turf is. You get steak and lobster tail with the butter right there. It's a nice bar. You go in the basement there. And thanks for tuning in. If you just joined me, we're on Diversey, Chicago, Illinois. It snows. Flurries are just starting to fall. We're supposed to get 3 to 6 inches later today. We might get more lake effect near the lake. Indiana might get more as usual. Michigan. But yeah, we'll do our best to go live at lunchtime, noon to 1 there, and see how the snow's looking, if we can film in the snow there. So yeah, just gorgeous. Half Shell, yeah, I recommend that place. People always ask me for food recommendations. Yeah, sorry to hear that. Yeah, Chicago typically has crummy weather in the wintertime. That's why a lot of people find this a hard place to live. And that's why so many people move from Chicago to Florida, California, and Texas. Because, you know, unless you find ways like me, like walking, or you like to ice skate, or you like to do ice fishing or cross-country skiing, you got to find some way to embrace the winter. Because if you don't like winter and you live in northern climates like Minneapolis or Chicago or Canada, you'll go nuts just being inside all winter, because, you know, it's depressing. Light deprivation, it gets dark early, it's cold, it just lasts a long time. But, you know, it keeps this place real. It's a real place. That's why there's all these Chicago gatekeepers that are like, we don't want anybody else moving to Chicago. I'm like, don't worry, it's not that many people are trying to move here. It's so funny that I posted that high-rise 400 Lakeshore, and some people they're like, why are they building this tower? Chicago's losing population. This is so stupid. I'm like, there's actually more people living downtown than in the neighborhoods. Like, it's the city's becoming inverted, where, you know, the downtown, it's a tale of two cities. You got all these rich people living downtown that don't never go into the neighborhoods. The people that grew up and were born in Chicago on the west side, the south side, a lot of them, north side too, don't even go downtown anymore, especially since the pandemic. And so it's a weird dynamic that's going on. You notice there's less people downtown because people don't go downtown, but people live downtown. They're the people downtown, but they're mainly people that had recently moved to Chicago. And they're not native Chicagoans, because a lot of native Chicagoans can't afford to live downtown. You see what's going on? It's a weird dynamic. And I'm a part of it too. I moved here in 1999. I moved to Lincoln Park, the rich, gentrified side of the city. I was scared. I didn't know where to live. I wasn't going to like move from the country of Indiana to the south side or the west side, you know. And but we go there. I got hundreds of videos in the south and west side, north side. Here we're up at Cafe Deco. Where are we at here? Diversey and Halstead. What are they doing? What are they doing to this building? I guess they're working on the facade. And here, the Fresh Market. So where are we at here? So that's where we came from. This is Diversey. Let's keep going this way. We'll go past the Fresh Market. Yeah, this used to be Dom's. We're at Halstead and Diversey here in Chicago, Illinois. We got 15 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 10 Celsius. The snow flurries are just starting to come down. Look at this Bears flag. See, look at the snow flurries. Can you see? It's very faint little snow flurries starting to come down. I don't know if you can see it. So we'll see if the snow starts to accumulate here in Chicago. Yeah. Snowbirds. Yeah, we got a lot of snowbirds. Homesick, yeah. Wicker Park. Yeah, that's nice. Damon and Milwaukee, 1987. I would like to see, next time I'm over there, and if I got reruns, I want to see how much that area's changed from 1987 to now. Wicker Park was a lot different in 1987 than it is now, and you know what I'm talking about. Isn't that amazing? And here, Dayton and Diversey. That's awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's really clean. Malaysia. Yeah, it's hot in Malaysia. Yeah. Yeah, you're right there by the equator. Yeah. Hey. Tina, thanks for tuning in. Remember when you could buy a Chicago-style pizza from the street vendors? Wow, you get a slice of Chicago-style pizza. That would be nice. It would be hard to cook a Chicago-style pizza. You got to put it in the oven for so long. New York has many more street vendors than Chicago. Chicago, it's just not historically. Chicago hasn't had vendors for multiple reasons. They wouldn't allow them for a long time, and probably because of weather too. It'd be hard to have a street vendor through the winter. See, there's not many people on the street. Everybody's inside. Yeah, the best food in USA, Chicago. There you go. Yeah, get your Italian beef, get your Chicago-style pizza, hot dog. But you realize there's much more to Chicago cuisine than just that. We got all ethnicities from all over the world, just like New York. You can find any kind of cuisine any time of the year. It's great. A lot of good high-end restaurants, Michelin-rated, Zagat, bar, 4-star, 5-star, whatever they, diamond, double diamond, whatever they call those. Charlie Trotter's, Alinea, all these, 14-course meals. People have reservations months in advance. But here we're in Chicago. Look at that building. I got to find more about this building. I wonder if Jennifer You Should Eat knows anything about this. She knows she knows Lincoln Park better than I do because she's lived here longer than I have. And I've lived here for 27 years. Yeah, Phil Pate's a shithole. Call Phil Pate a shithole. He calls other people shitholes. Yeah, some parts of Chicago are shitholes. Other parts are really nice and expensive. So, just like America has really nice places, America has a lot of crappy places too. So, I think you can understand the distinction. But, yeah, if you don't like Chicago, that's fine. You can stay on and watch and be pissed off. Or you can watch something else. Here's the Holy Covenant United Methodist Church. Look at that. I'll give you your own personal responsibility to take action and change your environment. Here, look at the red line. So the red line's just not even gonna stop here. The red line doesn't stop at Diversey. Only the brown and purple line stop on Diversey. Red line goes up to Belmont, south to Fullerton. Hey, Diversey, Lion Spirits. You see how they added the news station over here, added elevators, escalators, and that's the improvements they're making to the State and Lake Station. This yellow thing, remember the movie While You Were Sleeping? Sandra Bullock's character would have to sit in a booth like this downtown in the Loop, and it was to get transfers. You could get tickets. They used to have these downtown, but they removed them. This is a replica, and it's just a, artistic thing there. But it's like they 3D recreated what the scale of one of those things was. And here they got some historic stuff here. Ordinary relics, 4 elements, painted tracks, sculpture, 10 dates. And so I'll have to come back and read this. I'm not. Oh, see how they got all the dates. So this relates to this. This is called Ordinary Relic by Matthew Wilson, 2020. So this is an art display, but it also has historical information embedded in it, which is nice. Here's the historical station. This reminds me of the Fullerton stop where they used to have demon dogs. Remember, they used to have demon dogs on the north side of the station there, but they got rid of it when they renovated that station. I miss demon dogs. It was like part of DePaul University, it felt like. Hey, Chicago, Illinois, United States, America, planet Earth. We're at the Diversey stop. Dottie's Pizza. Red line head through there. See how the red line didn't stop both ways? It just went right through there. Diversey stop on the CTA there. New York City, that's good. Malaysia, yeah. New York City's nice, but this is Chicago. Thanks for tuning in, Chicago. We're a completely different city, but I know how people from New York tune in here too. That's great. And Malaysia. So that's Sheffield looking south. This is Sheffield looking north. Yeah, we'll just go by the tracks here. We'll parallel the tracks here. We'll cross here. So Diversey stop, Lakeview's all this way. We'll head back in Lincoln Park because I'm going to head back to my house and get some work done. So we can go on later today at noon and people working out here. Yeah, there's a big health club there. We show the facade there. Yeah, Chicago loves you. So, do you feel sad for the kids that are being accosted by ICE? I know you can criticize Mayor Brandon Johnson, that's fine. A lot of people don't like him. He probably won't win re-election. But if you're worried about the education, they're having to do remote learning in Minneapolis because of ICE, and that's a real thing. And are you concerned about their education being curtailed by immigration enforcement, or actually being detained by ICE, or what happened to Ernie's cousin? And go ahead and taunt me about what happened to Ernie's cousin. He died, and that's how real this is. We're not joking about this stuff anymore. These policies are having real ramifications. And a nation torn in half, purposely divided. They're purposely dividing us, divide and conquer. And as long as your precious 401k stays up, people will stand for it. But if the economy falters, there's a chance for a massive upheaval. And the current administration knows it. That's why they're desperate to find another conspiracy theory. Tulsi Gabbard was in Georgia stealing pallets of election data. We thought it was resolved. Why does the president need to prove to himself that he won the 2020 election? It's more about the 2026 midterms, though. I'm going to give you a preview of probably what's going to happen here heading to the fall. They're going to find evidence that Venezuela or Ukraine or some other foreign influence was affecting the 2020 elections. And they're going to say we have to federalize the elections, take them away from the states. You can't trust the states. You got to trust the lying federal government that lies to our face about murders that happened in Minneapolis. And then you got to federalize the election. They'll use ICE to enforce and intimidate people showing up to the polls with long guns in November. You don't think this is a possibility? It is. And why are people willing to risk their lives resisting what's going on in Minneapolis now? Because it's going to get worse. And there's going to be more protests this summer. I know people are tired of protests. You're tired of me talking about this. Get engaged. Get out there and counter protest. Become a street fighting man. You got to be like, we're heading back towards, and I'm against political violence. I'm for nonviolence resistance, using your First, Second, Fourth, Fifth Amendment rights. I don't care what party you're from. Neither party should be for the weakening of the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is the best thing. If you're Republican or Democrat, you should not give an inch on the Bill of Rights. Just as much if you're for the Second Amendment, why aren't you for the First and the Fourth? And it shows you we're all hypocrites. We all root for a team, and I'm no exception. Here's the yeah. There's a nice view here of the train heading through. There's this dog park. It's called Wrigley Field. We'll head down Lincoln here, 726. This is going to be a short and sweet Friday morning live stream. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to go back home and get to work here. Hey, thanks for Americana. Yeah. Some people call this Chirac. You can call it Iraq. We were called Chirac during the Iraq War because more people were getting killed on the south and west sides than they were in Iraq, or at least Americans. I know many more Iraqis died than Americans, either in Chicago or the Iraqi War. Very lopsided war as far as casualties. Well, we'll see what happens in Iran. You know, I don't see MAGA talking about the Epstein files. It seems like everything was about the Epstein files. Now I hear radio silence from the right. You think they would be, if you're concerned about considered children, you don't want the Epstein files released? Here's the train. Here's the train. There it is. Bunch of red lines going through here. Scenes of the city. Yeah, we should see some trains crossing here. This is Lincoln, Brightwood, and Sheffield. There's that park over there with the nice sculpture. I always forget the name of this park. And here, Lou Malnati's. You get Chicago style pizza, Lou Malnati's. And hey, the Parlay. There's a nice spot here. Umi, this is a dispensary. I can say that since we're on YouTube. I get flagged sometimes on TikTok for saying marijuana or dispensary, but since we're on YouTube, YouTube's more American even than the American TikTok. Maybe since Oracle bought it. I haven't tested it out yet. I'm afraid to because I've gotten so many violations on before the Oracle transfer. Let's see if Larry Ellison lets us say dispensary, you know, because it's legal in Illinois. It's just like a bar, you know. There's that pizza place over there. Here comes the train. So hey, Chicago, Illinois. There's the purple line coming from Evanston. Yeah, so the Parlay, Lou Malnati's. Hey, the dog's running in the park. Hey, the snow's starting to come down here, Chicago, Illinois. There's one of those cows. Look, it's painted like the Italian flag. Here we go. Here we got the train. Look at that. I think that was a brown line crossing Lincoln Avenue here. We're in Lincoln Park, south of Wrightwood, and we'll head right past the Biograph. Yeah, this, I'll have to check that out. Proust. Proust is a German style drinking establishment. Go there for Oktoberfest. What happened to Steve? Oh, okay. Thanks, Shauna. Thanks, Shauna. Thanks for, yeah, sometimes we gotta just keep things civil here. I appreciate that. Thanks to my wonderful mod team. I think other people appreciate it's necessary. If you run a bar or business establishment, you need bouncers. Not that we're against the first speech. We're just against every day, another battle, the endless battle. We all tired of it. I know people, it's hard for people that don't agree with me to listen to my diatribes. You know, it gets old. You know, all politics all the time. It's just complaining and whining. I know. What am I doing to make the world a better place for other people? I need to focus on that. And that's why we do this. So not everybody can get out and around, you know, especially in the wintertime. We like people to you can stay warm. You don't have to get out in the cold. I can show you what's going on, what you're missing, which is nothing. And here's the train. There's the Apollo Theater. For years they had the vagina monologues. Now they got some other. Look how active these tracks are. One train after another. Look, the Blackhawks celebrating 100 years. Chicago Blackhawks, one of the original 6 hockey teams. Yeah, still, even though it's controversial, Native American mascot, it's still one of the most popular hockey jerseys ever. Lukatama Shokia Kayak, Chief Blackhawk. And there, Smoke Dreams. See, I can't show this stuff on TikTok. Talk about Cheech and Chong movies. Here, Irish Eyes. Irish Eyes. How many people know that Pee Wee Herman was in Cheech and Chong movies? And that was before he had his kids program. Here's Ghost Tour. What's the Ghost Tour? This is Lily's. Lily's is a hippie place. They have blues bands and open mic nights. You go to Lily's Hill. Here, it's nice. You can sit up in this second level. Hey, look at this guy. Taste of China. Look at this place. Boulangerie, patisserie, chocolatieri. Verzine, Chicago. I can't pronounce something. Closed on Tuesday, but it's open every other day. Here, we're on Lincoln Avenue here, Chicago, Illinois, walking the dogs. We got 15 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 10 Celsius, and it's starting to snow. We're supposed to get 3 to 6 inches later today. And see that train's going across there. So we got 7:33 in the AM, Chicago, Illinois, United States, America, planet Earth. We'll head down past the Biograph Theater, where John Dillinger was ended by the G-Men there in 1934. Oak Park, yeah, the green line and the blue lines go to Oak Park. You take the CTA elevated train system there. Yeah, see, look at that. We'll look straight down. There it is. So there's that train there. And then it's going to pop out right over there. Hey, look at that. John Lennon or Don? Were you talking about Don Lemon? Was it Don Lemon or John Lennon? I think you said John Lennon, but I think you meant Don Lemon. Was Don Lemon arrested? Really? I know he's been covering the protests at all the ICE facilities. Don Lemon, if you don't know, he was formerly a CNN anchor, but now is an independent anchor because he got kind of canceled or something, and then now he's independent. Tucker Carlson had to do the same thing. Tucker Carlson's got his own thing. Same with Don Lemon. I didn't know he got arrested, so I'll look into that. Thanks for. And I might be reading too much into this. Here's the LE Consignment Shop. I got to get more information on that. So here we'll head past the Biograph Theater. We'll go down Fullerton. I got to get home here. I got something I got to do this morning here. So here, Buzz Market. So that used to be Wax Tracks. Wax Tracks used to be right here. So there's the Red Lion Pub. We're on Lincoln Avenue here, Chicago, Illinois, United States, America, planet Earth. We got 7:35 in the AM. We got 15 degrees Fahrenheit, and we got negative 10 Celsius. This is where Wax Tracks used to be. It's a beautiful facade. Let me get out in the street here and show it to you. Look how nice this facade is. Remember when this was Wax Tracks? It was a music record store and other things. Kind of like the one on Clark Street, the Reckless, not Reckless Records. The other one. I can't think of the name of it. I picture the storefront and I can't think of the name. It'll come to me. But here's the Victory Gardens Theater. So this is the Biograph Theater. This is where in 1934, if you've seen the movie Public Enemies with Johnny Depp, this is where John Dillinger was killed by G-men, the last of the most wanted men of the Prohibition era. Al Capone was already in Alcatraz. Bonnie and Clyde were already killed in Louisiana. And it wasn't until 1934 they got John Dillinger. You saw a Clark Gable movie. He came out. It was dark. He noticed that there was a crowd and the G-men, so he figured the gig was up. So he quickened his step. He went to try to dodge in this alley. 2 G-men fall behind him. He quickened his step. He grabbed for his gun. As he went in the alley, they shot him in the back. The fatal bullet came out of his eye from behind. They shot him in the back. Literally, John Dillinger bled out in this alley in 1934. People dipped their handkerchiefs in his blood for souvenirs. It was a very grisly time. And he was almost like a popular folk hero, like a Robin Hood. During Prohibition, he would rob banks, and people actually cheered for him even though he was a criminal. And it was because people were more angry at the banks. Look at this. Somebody put this, and they put Lenin next to Dillinger. So that's interesting. The anti-capitalist and anti-insurance message there. That's amazing. So here's Lincoln Hall, and there's Lincoln Station. It's still closed after the fire. They had a fire a year and a half ago. Firefighter tragically lost his life there. We covered it. We covered it. We live streamed there the day after, and you could still smell the smoke. And our condolences go out to the family that lost their firefighter family member. Here comes, this might be a fire engine right here. Maybe it's just an ambulance. Here, this is Lincoln. Yeah, here. Oh, look, it's passing the traffic here. So we'll watch the ambulance come through here. Let me get off the street here so I don't impede its flow here. There, it's going through 6-way intersection at Fullerton, Lincoln, and Halstead. It's going down Lincoln there. So there's the ambulance, number 32. Yeah, Lennon in Chicago, imagine that. There's Chipotle, used to be McDonald's. There's DePaul University. This is the 6-way intersection of, yeah, I just said it, Halstead, Lincoln, and Fullerton. So we'll head down Fullerton. I'll head back to Clark and Fullerton, and we'll start our day here. There's Halstead, runs all the way north to Boys Town, goes down to Greektown, Bridgeport, Inglewood, all the way to south into Chicago. This used to be the Children's Hospital. Now it's housing, it's a bank. So there used to be a park here, and then they built this residential wedge building. Crazy things. Oh, we missed the bus. Yeah, Grandma's Corner, thanks for posting that there. Melania has malaria? Wow. If anybody's, well, I guess the movie hasn't come out yet. Yeah. They're really trying to promote that movie. It's like propaganda. Don't cry for me, Argentina. There's, oh, your grandma, she shined John Diller's shoes in Indiana. I believe that. People would run into him. He was a regular person. He would always cross state lines and have his hideout in Indiana. He was briefly in the Crown Point prison. You could see that in the movie. Here's the Bourgeois Pig. We've gone in there. It's a nice DePaul hangout spot here on Fullerton. Here, Mochi Donuts. But Burling and Fullerton, that's where we're at here in Chicago, Illinois. 15 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 10 Celsius. But yeah, he was in that movie. He broke out of the Crown Point jail and just drove out of the town and went to a farmhouse in Indiana. That's why why did the federal government and the G-men have to exist? The criminals of the Prohibition era realized that they just crossed state lines. The police departments didn't coordinate. And it was the separation of powers. The same thing we're dealing with Minneapolis now, between the federal and the state jurisdictions, fighting over who runs the investigation. That would go on during the Prohibition era in the 20s. Watch The Untouchables with Kevin Costner, about Elliot Ness. The Chicago Police Department had become so corrupt during the 1920s because of Prohibition that the federal government couldn't trust it anymore. And it's just that it could happen again. And it could be that, it could be this time the federals are the ones that are wrong, not the state, you know. But at that time, it was the state that was wrong, and the local jurisdiction, Chicago, was corrupt. And there's still corruption to this day. There's corruption in every big city. There's corruption in Washington, D.C. Every administration. It's bipartisan. It's not limited to the Republicans or Democrats. You know. Here's Belmont Village. Here, we'll cross here. So, Fullerton, snow's starting to fall. We'll see how much snow's falling by lunchtime there. We'll do our lunchtime walk, noon to 1 here on YouTube. Might just head to the zoo, play in the snow. Hey, thanks for coming on a little morning walk here through Lincoln Park. We didn't even really go to Lakeview. We just went to the border of Lakeview. We went to Lakeview last night. And so I hope to film the snow later today. And then we'll see what happens this weekend. I'm just hoping it warms up a little bit. And yeah, should be nice. Hey, we'll see you. Snow's flurry's starting to fall. I don't know if he comes across in the camera there. Hey, Mark. Yeah. Your cousin Al Capone's old house is here in the suburbs. Yeah. He had hideouts everywhere. Shauna, yeah, out by Elgin there. That's great. Secret rooms, basement. Oh wow! See, that's why I Jody GTV's gone down there. I've gone down there. We went down to 73rd and Prairie Avenue. It's in Grand Crossing on the south side. That's where Al Capone's. That's the house he bought for his wife and his mother in 1923. But he didn't spend much time there. He was always living in hotels, hideouts. He lived in Cicero. He lived all over the place. You can go to West Bottom Springs in Indiana. He was down there. He was out in Montana. He was down in Florida. He was all over the place. Every town in the whole United States says Al Capone was here. But this is Chicago. He was really here. And he ran this town briefly. Like a warlord. You think Trump's a badass, but he would pale next to Al Capone. Here's hey, movers. Hey, look at the beautiful housing here on it's because I consider Trump a gangster, really I do. Here's look at the beautiful housing on Fullerton here. It looks nice in the snow across the street. Yeah, so we'll just round this out. You want a blizzard? Yeah. Dairy Queen Dolores, how you doing there? Scott. Yeah, 85% of the world's non-white. I know. It doesn't bother me. It cracks me up. I know I live on the white side of Chicago, but I have a black mayor. Most of this Cook County and most of the government officials are African American or Latino, Hispanic, non-white, and I'm okay with that. I moved from an area of the country that was 99% white, rural Indiana, to a place that has 30% African American, 30% Latino, Hispanic, 30% white, 10% Asian, which includes South Asian, and Native American, which is from America, which always gets overlooked. And I chose to move to a more diverse area of the country because I don't expect to be the majority in the country. I don't expect Christians to be the majority in this country. I don't expect white people to be the majority in this country because I'm over that. There's only one race, the human race. I don't know why this is still such a touchy issue for everybody. It shows that limits of human nature. People want to be in the in group, demonize other non-desirables. It's usually about money. The reason there's so many undocumented immigrants in the United States from south of the border is because it's money. It costs a lot of money to go through, money and time to go through the legal process to become a U.S. citizen. You have to hire lawyers, you have to go to court, and you have to pay a bunch of money. That's why Trump is offering these $1 to $5 million citizenships. If you're a billionaire, it's easy to come in the country. We'll take your money. And we've lost your soul. How many European immigrants came here with no money, nothing, and this country embraced them? Can't we return the favor to other people trying to do the same thing? Why do we, once people make it, they want to kick everybody else off the boat? It's kind of not being generous. I think I'll end it this way because I'm about to sign off, and I know I go on these diatribes and everybody's like, why am I talking about this? What is he talking about? I think because of inflation, most middle class and lower class Americans are not feeling as prosperous as they were in the 90s and the early 2000s before COVID. And because of that, people we're becoming protectionist because we're not as rich as we think we are. The billionaires are rich, and so that's why people are worried about too many people moving here taking the entitlement programs, because we know there's not going to be enough to go around. There's going to be scarcity. And that's the world we're heading into, a bunch of scarcity, and it's going to cause prices to go up. We're already seeing it in housing. The president just this week said he wants housing prices to go up. He said that because that's the nature of capitalism. You got to have all this asset, but it becomes unattainable at some point. And so we're heading for, no matter who's president, this president or the next president, we got an affordability crisis that's building. Either this president deals with it or the next. And we'll find out. So here, thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Here we'll leave Fullerton Street. There's the new construction. That's the new construction on Fullerton where the Cynical used to be. That's usually where we start and go to work, but I got 746. Thanks for tuning in. We'll come back on at noon to 1 today. We'll see if there's any snow accumulation here in Chicago. Watch out for the yellow snow. And check out the reruns there. I'll post a rerun from last night of the nice woman that showed us the K-pop collectible store there on Broadway in Lakeview. So hey, thanks everybody. Thanks mods. We'll see you at lunchtime there, noon to 1. Thanks a lot everybody. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you. Talk to you later. Work's not been cooperating. Oh, hey, talk to you later.